Hey everybody, what is up? Hold on, let me turn my music off. Hey, hey Jen, thank you. T Very, Lori, Sarah. I love you too. I love y'all. All of y'all. Hey cool gamer. Oh my goodness. Well, so this case is pretty crazy. The trial had just ended and I'm a little late to the trial party because I'm catching up on it currently. Which I'm kind of mad I didn't watch it in real time, but it gives me some stuff to do at work and listen and all that. So, but I'm gonna try and break it down as detailed as I can for you guys if you haven't seen it. And if you have watched, feel free to chime in and if I miss anything important to add. But this case is pretty intense and it has a lot of moving parts, and that's why I found it so interesting. And today, Donna Adelson was arrested. Which, if I'm gonna have to give you guys a summary so it makes sense to you guys, but I'm gonna pull up this little map here that's gonna help me like break it down for you. Um, Actually, I had a little video I can show you guys first. You know what? Let me show you the video first. Hey, please help me. Facebook has nothing to say. Hello. Let me play this little. Okay, so this is a court TV video, and this kind of like summarizes it and shows you. I might not even have to show the map because it'll summarize it for you and show all the pictures of the people so you know what's going on. And then I'm going to try and break it down by day in the trial. But basically Dan Markle, a lawyer, was married to another lawyer, Adelson. I think I'm saying that right. And they got divorced and had a pretty contentious custody battle. Wendy has a bit of, I wouldn't say a bit, has a very overbearing mother who, in my opinion, aka Donna Adelson, the one who was arrested today, who, in my opinion, I think she very much pulled a lot of the strings in here and probably even set it up, in my opinion. Um, so her mother hated Wendy's ex-husband, and she was determined to to help her get custody of the children. Wendy lived in Tallahassee, Florida, while her mom and the rest of her family lived in Miami, and they wanted Wendy to move to Miami to be with them so they could be there for her. But Dan won a court ruling where that she wasn't allowed to move out of the area. So that pissed off Wendy's mother even more. And then what set her off, I would say, even more was Dan and Wendy's children came back to Dan and told Dan that their grandmom was calling him stupid and that she didn't like him and that she was trying to take her sunshine. He was trying to take her sunshines away from her. And due to that, he had them, like told the court, and the court ruled that she could only have supervised visitation with the children. Yes, I agree. Please help me, Facebook. I think Donna was the mastermind in all this. Uh, Charlie, her son, the trial was for Charlie. I feel like, did the dirty work for the mom. He allegedly had they're convicted now, but his girlfriend, her kid's father was a member of the Latin Kings, and they hired him to kill Dan Markle. And Donna was the one who wrote the checks and all that. And if you see the emails and stuff from Donna, like, I can't even imagine having a mother like that. She's very, in my opinion, controlling and wants things her way. So let me show you guys this video to like break it down for you guys a little bit, and then we'll dive a little deeper. And let me know if for any reason you guys can't hear it.
To this day, do you think he's guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe that he should be prosecuted for his involvement in the murder of Dan Markel?
Yes, ma'am.
That's Catherine McBanawa talking about her ex-boyfriend, Charles Adelson, during her murder trial for the death of Florida State law professor Dan Markel.
Do you think he should come forward and let the jury know that you had nothing to do with this?
Yes, ma'am.
It was McBanawa's second trial for Markel's death after a jury deadlocked in her first trial in 2019. The second time around, a jury rejected her claims of innocence.
The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
Now, Florida prosecutors are setting their sights on Charlie Adelson, Markel's former brother-in-law.
So Charlie is Wendy's brother. Now keep in mind, like, it didn't seem like Wendy, when she wasn't allowed to move to Miami per court order, she didn't seem too upset about it. Her family was more upset than she was. They wanted her to be able to move and everything. So I think that's why she hasn't been officially charged or named in this, because it was more so her family, although I do think she knew about it to an extent, I don't know if she was part of any of the planning.
What enemy or enemies had Mr. Markel made that set into motion such a brutal act? The answer, his own family.
It would take 8 years for prosecutors to bring a case against Adelson to a grand jury, despite early suspicions of his possible involvement. Markel was involved in a bitter child custody dispute with Adelson's sister, Wendy, when he was gunned down in his driveway in 2014. Wendy Adelson testified that there was ill will between her ex-husband and her brother.
He had bought me a TV when I got.
I do believe the children are with Wendy. I don't know exactly like what will really happen, but I know I believe that Dan Markel's parents actually had to like fight for some law to be passed to even be able to get visitation to see the kids. So I imagine, though, that this situation will be helpful for them. I don't know how often they get to see the grandchildren or what, but I know that they at least had struggled to see them.
Got divorced and said it was a present and made a very bad joke and bad taste that it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
But prosecutors say Adelson did hire hitmen with McBanawa's help. Sigfrido Garcia, the father of McBanawa's children, and Luis Rivera, a gang member and friend of Garcia's. Rivera pleaded guilty in exchange for testimony implicating Garcia as the gunman and McBanawa as the link to the Adelson family.
I gave him the truth, bro. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you, man. I gave him the truth. Like, it was Katie and Garcia. It was all three of us was involved.
Investigators.
So, Katie was Charles's. Yeah, I'm not sure if they have gotten to see them, but I know that they were fighting to like pass a law, like named after them literally to try and see the kids. So I'm not sure if they were able to accomplish that or not, but I do remember them mentioning that in court. Like they literally had to like fight for a law to be passed. Yeah, they had 50-50 custody. They did have 50-50 custody, and she was not allowed to leave Tallahassee. But her family, she wasn't that upset about that. Wendy herself was not that upset about it. It was her mom who was angry about it and wanted her to move. Like her mom was even saying like, if she doesn't come to Tallahassee, to come to Miami, it could hurt her brother. It's like really bizarre. Like her mom is totally, hey B Tim. Her mom is totally like off the chain. Like she's very, I don't even know, super controlling in my opinion. She just she wanted everything. When you there's emails of her emailing Wendy saying like, this is, in court, you have to be the best actress of your life. Like, we're going to get the kids baptized in a Catholic church and you're going to take a picture outside of the house of them smiling, saying new beginnings. Like she had written these long-winded emails with details of ideas of things that she needed to do to look good, to get back at Dan and get custody. It was very bizarre. And they weren't, from what I've heard, they weren't ready to arrest her. She was bought, I guess, after the trial. So if you watch this trial, even though it's about Charles Adelson, Donna is mentioned so much more, and they talk about Donna as being the controlling one and the one pulling the strings. So I'm sure after his trial and them seeing all the evidence that was out, that they probably panicked a little bit, and Donna and her husband Harvey bought one-way tickets to Vietnam with a layover in Dubai. And I guess the police were watching them and they were like, okay, we need to make an arrest. It's now or never, because they were about to flee, I imagine, or in their opinion, they were about to flee.
Used a sprawling web of surveillance video, wiretaps, and cell tower data to connect a vehicle that was leaving the crime scene to Garcia and Rivera. Connecting Magbanowa to the plot would prove more difficult because she wasn't involved, according to Magbanowa's lawyers.
It wasn't through Catherine Magbanowa. This wasn't something that was negotiated through Catherine Magbanowa. It was about her. The communications that we have between Sigfredo Garcia and Charles Adelson in the weeks before the murder, in the days before the murder, are consistent with the fact that there was a deal between the two of them, and part of that deal was Charles Adelson breaking up with Catherine so that Sigfredo could get back the woman that he...
So here's the weird part, Lori, in response to what you're saying, the mom, Charles Adelson, said on the stand that his mom wasn't as involved in his life as she was in Wendy's life, and that she was kind of more over involved with everything in Wendy's life than she was with him. But he seemed to be kind of like a mama's boy, how they portrayed it at least. So he talked to his mom a lot.
Love so much.
What's different now? Leon County prosecutors say they have a new version of secretly recorded video showing Magbanowa and Adelson in a restaurant in 2016 with enhanced audio.
If a badge comes up to you, tell them have a nice day, officer. Listen, if they want to charge you with something, charge me. If not, I don't talk to cops.
Prosecutors showed the video to the jury in Magbanowa's retrial and to the grand jury that indicted Charles Adelson.
The piece of evidence was something that I did think was important, and I've always felt like if we could just get that clarified, that would make a big difference potentially in the case. So I was really happy to have that piece of evidence to present to the grand jury.
Charles Adelson now faces the same charges that Magbanowa was convicted of: first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation to commit murder. Adelson has pleaded not guilty and maintains his innocence.
So, Adelson, he was just convicted. I think he was convicted on conspiracy to commit murder. Yeah, probably, Sarah. It's strange though that she's not as controlling with Charles, but it makes me wonder if because he doesn't, I don't know if he has kids, but he doesn't really have doesn't seem like he has too much of a family life. But maybe because Wendy does. I don't know, but for some reason she could not stand Dan Markle. And it caused, a lot of issues. And she, like, really did not like him. Okay, hold on. So, let me go. I'm going to pull up some recap so we can talk about the days. I have so many tabs open, though, so give me a second. Day 2. Okay. So, on day 1, they brought Wendy Adelson on the stand. She took the stand on Thursday. Well, it was on a Thursday in a trial of her brother, Charlie Adelson, testifying that her family had nothing to do with the 2014 murder of law professor Dan Markle, and that she was surprised to learn hours earlier that her brother knew who her ex-husband's killer was all along. During nearly 2 hours of harsh direct examination by the assistant state attorney, Georgia Kappelman, Wendy Adelson, who was married to Markle for 6 years, before abruptly leaving him in 2012, also denied having any knowledge of the murder for hire plot or any involvement herself. Your family had your ex-husband killed to try to help you, right? Kappelman asked. No, that's completely untrue, she replied. They had a bitter divorce and a custody battle over their 2 young sons and other post-divorce disputes. 2 hitmen from Miami, Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera, stalked him that morning before he was shot twice in the head at point-blank range in the garage of his Benton Hills home. Ooh, that'll be really good, Patty. I'm definitely have to check that out. Prosecutors have long alleged that Wendy and her parents, Donna and Harvey, wanted her to relocate to Miami with their kids so bad the family was willing to kill for it. So the motive really is they wanted her to relocate to Miami. I'm not really sure why it was so important to her, like to the mom. I don't know. I think it became, in my opinion, like, when you like a competition type thing. Like she couldn't stand Dan so much that it became like she got obsessed with it. Oh, they did one on Wendy. I haven't seen that. I'll have to watch it. A judge ruled against her to move a year before the murder. The state labeled all 3 unindicted co-conspirators. It marked the 3rd time Wendy Adelson herself, an attorney who worked at FSU before moving to Miami days after her ex-husband was killed, has testified in the case. As before, during the 2019 trial of Garcia and Catherine, who was dating Charlie Adelson when the murder happened, and Catherine's retrial last year, Wendy was granted limited immunity for her testimony. Yeah, maybe. Maybe because she wanted to be close to the kids. I mean, I'm sure she did want to be close to them, but, he lived in Tallahassee and that was 8 hours away. So, and that's where they lived together and where the kids were used to, and I guess going to school and all that. Charlie told jurors that Catherine was Rosenbaum's theory. Oh, never mind. I guess Charlie Adelson's attorney Roshbaum's theory of the case involves an elaborate extortion scheme. So this is what the defense's theory is. He told jurors that Catherine was the murder plot mastermind who told Charlie shortly after the murder that people she knew had done it and that he would have to pay them or they would kill someone in his family. So he's trying to say that Charlie was extorted by Catherine. The hitmen and Catherine split the $100,000 the day after the murder, which prosecutors said came from Charlie Adelson and stapled together $100 bills. Although, I'm pretty sure Donna Adelson wrote checks out to them, or at least she wrote checks out for something. But let me keep going. I know I heard that somewhere. In all the years this has been pending, your brother has known who killed your child's father, and you didn't know, Kappelman, the lead prosecutor, for years on the case asked incredulously. I did not know when Wendy Adelson said. She said she didn't find out about that defense account of what happened until earlier that day. Kappelman asked if Charlie, her older brother and middle child of Donna and Harvey Adelson's 3 children, had ever mentioned hiring a hitman to kill her ex-husband, and she gave a no answer. Kappelman read from the interview Wendy Adelson had with Tallahassee police investigators the same day as the murder. In the interview, Wendy said it was always his joke that Charlie looked into hiring a hitman but bought her a TV instead because it was cheaper. So they keep bringing up this, okay, they were separate to Katie. All right. So he made this supposedly terrible joke that had haunted him in the trial, which they brought up many times, is he bought Wendy a TV after her divorce, and he kept joking that he bought her a TV instead because it was cheaper than a hitman. But apparently he made this joke to like tons of people. And she said, yeah, that joke was made in poor taste. The television itself is a key part of the case. Wendy was at home the morning of the murder waiting for a Best Buy Geek Squad member to come look at the TV, which had a cracked screen. The appointment, which she said she arranged, gave her an alibi. Although they did have this officer, Bill Brannon, on the stand, and he was in charge of securing the crime scene and like putting the roadblocks up, and he said Wendy's minivan pulled up and like literally abruptly turned around and didn't even stop and leave, like almost like she knew like something was going on, and she didn't stop to think. She just turned around and left real quick. She also denied telling her ex-boyfriend Jeffrey Lacasse that shortly before the murder, Charlie Adelson had seriously looked into hiring a hitman. So apparently she told her ex-boyfriend, who also testified, that she went up to him and said, like, I really need to talk to you in private about something. Is it not working, Lori? Hold on, I could type it out. See if this works. I'm going to type one out real quick. If not, Sarah might be able to do it. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, yeah, maybe it's because it's men. Anyway, where was I? Lacasse, I don't know if I'm saying that. There it goes. Lacasse testified last year that he had heard the joke before, but before that murder, Wendy confided him that Charlie had inquired about paying for a hit and that it would cost perhaps $50,000. He told jurors the comments were chilling and that he thought Charlie Adelson was dangerous. I'll be here all day if I read through all this, so I'm skipping some of the stuff. All right, so day 2. They pick up where they left off with Wendy. They did ask her, you know, like if she really, if she was upset about, you know, not being able to move, and they were making a point that, you know, she wasn't really planning to move because she was looking at homes in the Tallahassee area. She was looking at schools. She was dating in the area, things like that. So they were trying to, you know, make a case that she wasn't really concerned about leaving Tallahassee. It was more so her family, you know. Prosecutor used daycare drop-off schedules, Roshbaum, the defense attorney, used daycare drop-off schedules to show that accomplice Louise Riviere could have never seen Wendy and the boys outside of Dan's home on July 17th because the kids were at school that morning. In her testimony, Wendy was forced to make claims under oath which contradict other evidence, such as who the main character of her book was modeled after and how often the Markles are allowed to be in touch with their grandchildren. Wendy claimed that the Markles are allowed to see their grandsons whenever they ask to, which is false, and went so far as to claim that the law the Markles fought to pass in order to gain visitation with their grandchildren was unconstitutional. Following that statement, Judge Everett instructed the jury to disregard Wendy's assertion about the constitutionality of the Florida statute. Welcome, Patty. Thank you. Thank you. The real challenge of Wendy's narrative came through three subsequent witnesses. Bill Brannon, he was the officer that said that Wendy drove up to the crime scene while they were literally had the roadblocks and all of the, crime scene tape was up. They said you could see the crime scene from the roadblocks and that she basically drove up and abruptly turned around. Then her ex-boyfriend came up and he was the one who basically said that, she had confided in him about her brother. And then Stephen Webster, Dan Markle's attorney, was called as a state witness. His testimony strongly confirmed the level of acrimony in the divorce. Kappelman asked Webster about the motion Markle was planning to file to hold Wendy in contempt after he discovered she was hiding money from her disclosures. She's a lawyer, he said. She should have been held in contempt. She didn't disclose things on her financial affidavit. At the end of the day, you could lose your law license over that, Webster said of Wendy. Kappelman then asked Webster if he agreed with Wendy when she testified that everyone believed Markle's motion would fail. No, Webster corrected. I would not have gotten involved if I thought he was going to lose on the contempt. Sharing how his own reputation depends on the reputation of his clients and he would never have accepted a case that would cause him to disrespect the judge or the court. Webster testified that Dan was not planning to move away from Tallahassee, contrary to what Wendy had told the jury. The Roshbaum's questions for Webster were brief. You never went to court with Professor Markle, did you? He asked Webster. No, he was killed before I got the chance, Webster replied. Ex-girlfriend June Umchinda? Her memory isn't remembering key details, but she recalls stapled money. That's Charlie's ex-girlfriend. She was missing in action when she was supposed to appear. She is among the more reluctant witnesses, still having feelings for Charlie, despite what she had previously shared with the FBI was his relentless cheating on her. Well, the girl he's pregnant with, I've caught him with her, she told the agent Patrick Sanford and investigator Sherry Bennett. And you still describe him as perfect, Sanford led. Well, yeah, the murdering and cheating, she replied before agreeing that besides those things, he was great. Ellie figured out it was Sigfrida or whatever and Louise Riviere through cameras and stuff because they had tailed Dan all day following him around before they killed him. And then through there, I guess, they tied together the relationship that Sigfredo was Catherine's baby dad and Catherine was Charlie Adelson's girlfriend, so they kind of pieced it all together from there, I guess. And I believe Lewis also, after they were arrested, said, told them that they were hired. Once she was found, she entered the courtroom and exchanged smiles with Charlie. She walked through the timeline of their relationship. They asked if she still had feelings for him, and she said there's still something there, that she cares about him. The two were serious at the time the FBI bump had occurred, seeing each other daily, but their relationship changed after. It was only after June 17th, 2016, run-in with a reporter who mistook her for Catherine Magbuana and embarrassed her by taking her photo while she was sporting a Band-Aid on her arm, did she start to realize that her boyfriend may be involved in Markle's death. Charlie had told her not to talk to police if they came to the house and had been acting strangely for the many weeks. Their usual routine was disrupted, and she started to notice that Charlie had been talking to Katie a lot and at odd hours. And they asked, did Mr. Adelson ever show interest or curiosity to you and who had killed his brother-in-law? She said he didn't know who did it. It was like an unsolved mystery. But then Kappelman had her review her prior interview, I guess, with like law enforcement, and she claimed Charlie had never expressed curiosity about who killed Markle. She said, that's what was weird to me. She said in the interview, it was always like, if you didn't do it, then who do you think did it? And he never showed sympathy or anything. She said after Katie was arrested, Charlie started behaving like someone who was being accused of murder. He was super stressed and was scary to be around at least once. He got a second phone and possibly even a third phone in that time frame and started communicating exclusively through WhatsApp. He kept guns close by in the bedroom. She also testified that Donna Adelson, who was just arrested, was distressed during this period, taking painkillers and seeming stressed, but Donna never expressed curiosity about who killed Markle either. She mentioned that Charlie and Wendy had been fighting about the case and weren't on speaking terms for some time because of the case. A curious thing to report, considering Wendy swears she never talked about the case with her family. Perhaps most importantly, again, she testified that Charlie had the peculiar habit of stapling his $100 bills together into bundles. After your breakup, did Charlie make any big-ticket purchases for you? A car? A condo? Hold on. He asked her if she was aware that the barbed wire around Charlie's house, the camera system, and the guns he kept in his nightstand were all installed after Markle's murder. Oh, wow. He had barbed wire on his house? I didn't know that. What a nut. Has Charlie ever told you to lie? Yes, she said, before correcting her answer to no. She thought the question was whether Charlie had ever told her to lie. Oh, if Charlie had ever told her a lie, which obviously he told her a lot of lies because she said she was cheating on him. Whatever. Okay, so Luis Riviera, he was the guy who helped Sigfredo kill Dan. Like, they were both members of the Latin Kings, I believe. Luis Rivera, accomplice, he was Sigfredo's accomplice, who was the gunman, says the lady wanted her kids back and they were hired by a dentist. That's what he told them. Riviera, and he was the one who kind of ratted them out. Riviera, a lifelong friend of Sigfredo Garcia, cooperated with law enforcement early after his arrest for his participation in Markle's murder and had testified in the prior two trials. Details of his participation are detailed extensively here, which basically he followed Markle around. Hey, Pecan! With Sigfredo, and then they tailed him for quite some time, and then they killed him. Some highlights of his testimony include Katie got the money for the hit job from the people, quote unquote, the dentist, and Wendy, his sister. His understanding of why he was hired to commit the murder was to get the kids back, meaning Wendy's kids. The job was in no way related to his gang affiliation. Kappelman asked Riviera if he had gotten any information about Markle's schedule or address from a blog, to which Riviera replied, the blog was Wendy. Katie knew the murder had been done before Garcia called her. Riviera wanted to go rob Wendy, the lady, instead while in Tallahassee, but Garcia insisted that the job had to be done. The defense is saying that you and Garcia did this on your own. He said, no, good one. If you had known that it was the dentist that had the money, would you have been just as likely to rob the dentist? And he said, absolutely. And then I will go. So basically, Day 3 now is the next day. They pull out a lot of emails, stuff between, I'm pretty sure it was on day 3, emails between Donna and Charlie and Donna and Wendy, which are very telling. She gets, let me see if I wonder if I took pictures of them, or I can read some of them to you. Hold on one second. So Donna was like obsessed with, helping Wendy get the kids back. Charles had testified that basically Wendy would vent to his mom, and then his mom would call him and vent to him. And that his mom was much more involved in Wendy's life than his. He said his mom was so upset because Wendy was upset. Wendy did want to relocate. She did want to relocate because she didn't have family in Tallahassee, Charles said, but he said she wasn't that upset when the judge said no, but his parents were furious. And then I'm going to read you some emails. So, one email, it says, subject, please read, very important. And then, hey, Nettie, in caps. This is Donna Adelson writing to Wendy. In caps, it says, plan of action. And then it's numbered. 1. Take a photo of boys. Parentheses, dressed nicely, standing at the front door, or by the sign of a Tallahassee church. Then, change your Facebook status photo to this one so everyone will see this. Perhaps a line under the photo with new beginnings in Tallahassee might be nice. Within minutes, Gibbers should either see this or will be getting calls from his friends, acquaintances about this. I'm guessing that's Danny. How happy do you think he will be? 2. Make arrangements to get the boys, quote unquote, caught up with a private tutor. Parentheses, teenage Catholic church member, parentheses, who will come to the house to teach young men about Jesus. Parentheses, if you don't have time to arrange for this to happen, I will happily do it for you. Parentheses, she or he will serve as a good, quote unquote, babysitter assistant for you while you're preparing dinner, etc. Happy face. Let me get the other ones. 3. Let Gibbers know that your children, in caps lock, will be baptized in a Catholic church, and you will certainly invite him to the event. Let him know that the Catholic Church is a big part of your life now with the boys, and you'd like him to be a part of it. As long as he wants you to remain in Tallahassee, the boys will be involved with you in the church-related activities and ceremonies. Let him get used to it. I've already checked this out, and baptism can be arranged within 2 weeks. We can send out evites to Gibbers, his parents, his sister, and anyone else you want to invite. I think this is big because if I recall correctly, they were of Jewish faith. So it almost seems like she's setting up this Catholic church thing just to like get under his skin and to upset him so that he loses his cool and makes an idiot of himself. Like that seems like it's the mom's plan. Like she wants him to like snap out and look bad. So, if they're, have Jewish faith and follow, a Jewish practices, and then she's saying, okay, now they're going to be baptized and be Catholic, that would probably cause an issue. 4. I'm looking into summer camp programs for the boys. We will pay for it, even if the boys end up only the few days that they're in Tallahassee on the days you have them prior to the hearing. 5. Register them for toddler classes at the church. I've looked into this, and even if you don't go, we can show Gibbers that they are enrolled for the fall semester. All right, here's another one. Forward. Wendy, please read this. Him? Question mark. Why not stand up to this effer? Why not fight? We're not talking about a lifetime of this. You have the boys a very limited number of days before the mediation takes place. This is all part of an act. Bold, underlined, act is bold and underlined. Please rethink this. We're all willing to help you accomplish this. So I'm pretty sure this is Wendy basically saying like this is pretty much her, Wendy saying like it's not that big of a deal, like, and her mom saying like, no, it is a big deal. Like, this is what we're doing. Please rethink this. We're all willing to help you accomplish this. And that's all it is. Wendy, an act of defiance that will put a scare into this jackass. It will infuriate him. It won't infuriate a judge that you found Jesus. So maybe she didn't feel right doing that, like the whole church thing, because it sounds like her mom's trying to convince her that it's a good idea. An act of defiance that will put a scare into this jackass. It will infuriate him. It won't infuriate a judge that you found Jesus. She can't comment on your religious views. And then she puts this one sentence in caps and underline. You need to see the big picture. You need to look into the future of what a life without your only family nearby. We want to see you help yourself. Everyone has to do, not everything one has to do in life is comfortable or easy. So it seems like, Wendy didn't even want to do this stuff, and her mom is like, pushing her to like do this like crazy stuff to try and piss him off. And I think she even wrote, I remember the prosecutor saying at one point, she wrote something about how like the Nazis had to like dress a certain way and act a certain way to like put on a front, and this is what she has to do. Like it's really bizarre. And I don't know if that was just a comparison the prosecutor's making or what it said in the email, but like Donna was she was very pushy, and like, she even offers at one point, paying $1 million, like they'll pay $1 million to settle with him, which I doubt he would do because he seemed pretty like well off himself, But it does seem to me, at least, that Donna may have been the one pulling the strings. Like I think she was the one who had the biggest issue, and had the motive. And I think Charles just, did what she wanted type deal. You know what I mean? Looking up the closing arguments because that's where they show all the evidence. And then this is really genius, honestly, what the cops did. But they basically, yeah, I think Donna definitely sounds like the culprit for sure. Yes. Yes, and she's much older, but she was like very, I don't know, like I wanted everything a specific way. Hold on. All right, I have the closing arguments up so I can show some of the stuff that in the closing arguments, they show all the evidence at the end that is important to convict Charles, but a lot of the evidence is I think way more damning for Donna than even Charles. So if they were able to convict Charles, I don't think they'll have a problem convicting Donna. This family more spelling first. Neither the wife nor the husband, who is a Canadian citizen, has any family in Tallahassee. The wife's parents reside in Coral Springs, and the wife's brother resides 20 minutes away. The children are very close to the wife's parents as they have visited every 3-4 weeks since the birth of their children. Furthermore, the husband travels a great deal, approximately 45 to 50. Oh, I guess that's their. I'm trying to find the emails. Okay, here's one. Dear Wendy, so this is from Donna. Okay, just saw this email this morning. Obviously, his 23-page rant was insufficient, so he is trying to push the court to deny hearing your petition. The most important part of your divorce is relocation. So she's like, she really wants her to relocate. I sincerely hope your attorney understands that is your non-negotiable in caps lock. Lots of things are negotiable. That's the one thing you cannot let her think, okay, well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. She needs to hear from you how serious you are about this and how it will benefit the children with a close-knit family support system, as well as your significantly better paying job. Hold on. Let me share the screen so you guys can see it. So this is the order where they basically say that Wendy has not met her burden of proof and that a relocation is in the best interest of the minor children. So they order that she has to stay in Tallahassee. So this is them basically saying that that it's in their best interest that they stay in Tallahassee. Okay, so this is the one I was reading where, she says take a picture of the boys standing at the front door by the sign of a Tallahassee church. Now, again, think about this. His family is Jewish. They're not Catholic. They are practicing Judaism. They aren't Catholic. And she wants her to do this whole plan to piss him off and set him off to start problems and make him look bad. She wants him to flip out about it in court and it look bad on him because he's mad that she found Jesus. You know what I mean? So she's trying to manipulate the situation, make him look bad. So again, she said, take the photo of the boys dressed nicely, standing at the front door or by the sign of a Tallahassee church. Then change your Facebook status photo to this one so that everyone will see this. Perhaps a line under the photo with new beginnings in Tallahassee might be nice. Rub it in his face even more. Within minutes, Jibbers should either see this or will be getting calls from his friends' acquaintances about this. How happy do you think he will be? Make arrangements to get the boys caught up with a private tutor, teenage Catholic church member who will come to the house to teach young men about Jesus. If you don't have time to arrange for this to happen, I will happily do it for you. She or he will serve as a good babysitter assistant for you while you are preparing dinner. Let Jibbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church, and you'll certainly invite him to the event. Let him know that the Catholic Church is a big part of your life now with the boys, and you'd like him to be a part of it. As long as he wants you to remain in Tallahassee, the boys will be involved with you in the church-related activities and ceremonies. Let him get used to it. I've already checked this out, and baptism can be arranged within 2 weeks. We can send invites to Jibbers, his parents and sister, and everyone else you want to invite. So trying to, stir everybody up in his family. I'm looking into summer camp programs for the boys. We will pay for it, even if the boys end up only going a few days, that they're in Tallahassee on the days you have them prior to the hearing. Register them for toddler classes at the church. I know. It's crazy, isn't it? It just shows like the level of weirdness she will go to piss him off and make him look bad in a custody battle. I'm pretty sure they were even they practice Judaism themselves, so it makes it even more strange that she would be willing to have her convert just to piss him off. All right, so this one says, please read. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. Right, yeah, we see that. Please read, very important. Dad and I have changed our lives this year to support and assist you and the boys in every possible way. Charlie has accepted the loss in the office business income for us to do this because he loves you and wants only the best possible future for you. It's time for you to show us that you can put on the performance of your life for the next few weeks. So she's trying to like guilt trip her own daughter into saying like, we've all given up our lives for you. Like, if you don't do this right, like, you know, you're gonna let us down. Like, she's like putting the pressure on her hard, which is kind of like sickening to me. Like, she sounds like she definitely has some narcissistic tendencies, in my opinion, and I am not quick to say that. Wendy, please read this. Obviously, the court isn't out to help you. It's clear since Judge Hobbs' last ruling that she could care less about anything you had to say on your behalf. You need to help yourself. Which, so, if she can't help herself through court, what is she referring to? How could she help herself outside of court? You know, Wendy, most of the wars that have been fought for the last couple of thousands of years have been fought over religion. Charlie brought up a good point when he said that here it is. This is the one I was talking about, the Nazis. When he said that Americans were dropped behind enemy lines during World War II wearing Nazi uniforms to get what they wanted. So she's basically comparing what she needs to do to what Americans dressing in Nazi uniforms to fight this war. They had a job to get done, and they did what they needed to do to accomplish it. You have a job to get done in a very short time frame to accomplish it. If you dressed up your kids in Hitler youth uniforms and brought them down here, I could care less if it was an act of defiance that would show Jibbers that he's not in control. If the children are... I don't know if they show the rest of it. Him? Why not stand up to this effort? Why not fight? We're not talking about a lifetime of this. You have the boys a very limited number of days before the mediation takes place. This is all part of an act. Yeah, exactly, Callie. Please rethink this. Hey, Montana Jade. Sorry. Hey, Kia. Sorry, I'm reading and I'm not paying attention to chat. I apologize if I missed anyone. Please rethink this. We are all willing to help you accomplish this. And that's all it is, Wendy. An act. An act of defiance that will put a scare into this jackass. It will infuriate him. It won't infuriate a judge that you found Jesus. She can't comment on your religious views. You need to see the big picture. She's like begging her daughter to like convert to Catholicism just to piss this guy off and make him look crazy. You need to look into the future. What a life without your only family nearby, teaching in Tallahassee with Danny always in the picture will give you. It's not a pretty picture. We want to see you help yourself. Not everything one has to do in life is comfortable or easy. A bit unhinged? She's totally unhinged. And this is her son's trial, but she really became like more so the focal point of the trial because she's like totally unhinged. I don't think you realize the type of offer we're considering. So, all right, this is her trying to guilt trip her more. I don't think you realize the type of offer we're considering. We're planning on you. Charlie and Dad and I going as high as equal parts in $1 million offer. That's $333K from each of us. Obviously, the more chits on our side, the better our chances are that we won't have to go that high. You have to show us that you're doing your part in this too. We're a team. We can't do this without your help. One of the possibilities in everyone has a price. Now is the time to start. You said this divorce is not about winning and losing, that it's not a competition. Well, it's very much so a competition in Donna's eyes. You've already lost relocation according to the legal system. Well, it is about winning and losing. We're trying to get a win. You deserve it. You deserve so much more than a life without family teaching in Tallahassee. Oh. All right, here's some text. Horrible evening for your sister and for us. Dad finally had to walk outside to lower his blood pressure. Just awful. I can't even explain. Or the way back to Wendy's. On the way back to Wendy's house. What does it say? With only blank. I bet. Let's talk this week. Oh, darn, they move. Okay, hold on. I didn't know they moved. I'm just gonna have to let it play. Yeah, she's way too much. Like, way too much. I can turn the volume up so we can hear it. Can you guys hear?
Charlie says Wendy probably hasn't mentioned it to him.
She never told me. Why is she doing this? She never mentions to me on the phone. I guess it's because it's stupid. Did Danny give her permission to move schools?
Him because it's stupid.
Oh, I gotta put my headphones on because I can't hear what she's
And then after he gets Wendy to pull the plug on the house, he's praised as the miracle worker that solved this problem.
So I guess she was gonna purchase a house in Tallahassee and they talked her out of it.
This text was sent on Halloween of 2013, the very day that Catherine McDaniel testified. This defendant broached the subject to her of, hey, do you know anybody that could rough somebody up?
He wrote, hey, do you know anybody that could rough somebody up?
The defendant was hearing about Wendy's situation regularly from Donna. Here we see Donna telling the defendant how angry at Wendy's attorney and stressed out Wendy is. That's on February 15th of 2014. And here's
Don't get worked up. Get worked up about it. She's too stressed about it. Let's just keep conversation with her light and not add to what she's dealing with. Right, Donna, because Donna adds like everything.
There's another text from
It's going too fast for me. If you speak to Wendy today, tread lightly. Don't ask questions about the deposition. Her lawyer, tough time. She's really stressed out. The asshole showed up at soccer yesterday, and when she tried to leave with the boys, he said, no, stay here and play with Abba. She to the boys that Abba had to leave, and he said, no, I don't. Of course, she woke up to another email from him telling her that she's lying to the boys about their father's whereabouts and that this will be brought before the court.
From Donna Adelson to Charlie Adelson. 4 days later, discussing the details of Danny's actions. And
he's allowed to attend the children's activity, but that's where it ends. Hey, Bodie.
Here on March 4th, 2014, we have Donna planning to speak in private with the defendant while she's at the rest stop in Gainesville.
37 miles to Gainesville. I can't talk now, but I'll text you before we stop in Gainesville where I can go to the bathroom and have a moment of privacy. Then I'll call. Please pick up because I will have very limited alone time today. Erase this text after reading it. Now, I believe they claim that it's about their dad's surprise party, but the prosecution is saying that it's about the murder.
She asked him to delete this message after he reads it. Although he's not with Harvey, and Harvey nor his birthday are mentioned in this text message. All that's mentioned in this text message is, I'm going to pull over at a rest stop and talk to you in private. This is the grandma motion. On March 26, 2014, less than
Okay, so this is motive as now, isn't it funny that this is Charles's the closing argument for Charles's trial, and it's all about Donna. So on 3 specific occasions on November, so this is a motion about Donna. On 3 specific occasions in November 2013, the children informed Mr. Markle, Abba, Dad, Grandma says you're stupid. When queried as to why Grandma, the maternal grandmother, would say such things, the children replied jointly that it is because she says you are trying to take her sunshines away from her. In December 2013, Lincoln, the younger son, further stated to Mr. Markle that in front of the former wife, Abba, Grandma says she hates you. The children were visiting with their grandparents at that time. Cats like the simplest thing, like boxes. So, basically, then Grandma was only allowed to have supervised visitation, which they believe this kind of, sparked her anger up even more. And as you can see, she was already unhinged. So imagine how she would be when they tell her she can't have unsupervised visits with her grandchildren.
4 months prior to this murder, less than 4 months prior to this murder, the boys indicate that, quote, Grandma says you're stupid. She says you are trying to take her sunshines away from her. And, quote, Grandma says she hates you. No more squabbles over kosher.
Trying to see if there's anything else.
Come through.
So I think when they talk, they refer to it being like Dad's B-Day present. Like that's their like code.
Then on July 6th, we've got Wendy Adelson with a location at or near her parents' place when she texts Dan Markell and confirms he's going to be in town for his own murder. This slide depicts the night before the second trip. We know Catherine McBanois and the defendant are together that evening at her place. He departs between 12:42 and 1 a.m. And then
I'm not going to go through all the
after the
evidence. I
defendant
just
departs,
wanted to
Catherine
show some of
McBanois'
the
residence,
Donna
we've got
stuff.
Catherine McBanois
I
on
want to
Secret
find the
Garcia.
spot. Hold on, here's more text. I
Testified
want to
that
find
when
the
she
spot.
arrived-
Okay. So basically, the cops were absolutely genius, right? And I think like 2 years later, Donna's leaving her home to go pick up the kids from school. And an undercover cop walks up to her pretending to be someone part of like the Latin Kings or a friend of Sigfredo and Louise. And he hands her a letter that basically says like, you pay us $5,000 or, we'll start talking or something like that. And then they have all their phones tapped. So, of course, she starts to panic and she calls her son and she's like, you'll never believe this guy just walked up to me and did this and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, and when he asks, like, well, who is it about? And she says, well, it's about me and you. But she doesn't say anybody else. So she kind of implies that, like, it's just her and Charles who set the whole thing up, And then they make it like Catherine, like Charles didn't want anything super serious with Catherine, but Catherine really liked him, so like maybe I'm guessing maybe she went out of her way to do this for him because of trying to like please him. Oh my gosh. You see his text? Oh my. So she asked him for help about. Oh, why did she just get arrested now? Because she was trying to flee, Nenny, the mom. they were waiting to arrest her because I guess they were still putting her case together. And I guess after watching her son's trial, as you can see, the evidence is more heavy on Donna than it is even Charles. Like, the whole case against Charles, as they're going over all of the evidence, is mainly about Donna. Like, they talk about Donna way more than Charles. It is Charles's trial. So I'm guessing Donna, seeing all this go down, and Donna starts to panic and decides she's going to flee. So her and her husband buy a one-way ticket to Vietnam with a layover in Dubai. And the cops, I suppose, were watching her. So, they arrested her before she could get on the flight. But this is the undercover cop going up to her and handing her that letter that's basically saying, like, you owe us $5,000. And it's
the papers folded in half. She didn't even
watch
all the different spokes. Or it can be shaped like a train car, which is what we have here. One person talks to only the car in front of them and the car behind them. Law enforcement was asking these same questions. How is this conspiracy shaped? How does it work? How does information flow through it? What are different parties' relative roles within a conspiracy? And the wiretap and bump were designed to answer those questions. Did you notice that Donna Adelson, see how the paper's folded in half? She didn't even look at the paper before she put it in her purse. She didn't think this.
So normally, if somebody walks up to you on the street and hands you a paper and tells you, like, hey, this has to do with something that has to do with Catherine and up north, and, we need the money, blah, 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 you're going to open that paper and look at it. She grabs it and doesn't even look at it because she already knows what's it about. She thinks it's a guy who's trying to extort money from her, but really it's the cops pretending.
She knew exactly what it was the moment this man approached. And then she just goes about her business. Does she give law enforcement this valuable information that could be used to solve the brutal murder of her son-in-law? I mean, this guy that approached her obviously knows something about who killed Dan Markell, right? So surely she went straight to the cops. Nope. Instead, she goes straight to this defendant, who goes straight to Catherine in Panama, who goes straight to Sigfredo Garcia. In that first call after the bump, Donna says she doesn't want to talk on the phone, but defendant.
So she calls Charles and he goes, oh my gosh, this guy just came up to me and did this. And he's like, the conversations are kind of funny. Like, if you go back and you listen to the conversations, like, she's like, can we meet? Can you take me out to lunch and we'll talk about it there? And he's like asking her all these questions on the phone. He's like, he wants more information, and she's bugging out, but she gives a little bit of information. And then he calls Catherine, like, as soon as he hangs up with his mom. And then Catherine, he says to Catherine, do you know what this is about? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no. And then, she calls Sigfredo. So obviously they all knew what it was in reference to.
Can't leave it alone. He asked, does it involve me or other people? Her answer, well, probably with both of us. Probably.
So this is the transcript of them on the phone. So Charles says, does it involve me or other people? And she said, well, probably the both of us. She doesn't really say anybody else. So, it's obvious that these two are the one who came up with this murder for hire blood. She says, probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea of what I'm talking about.
Both of us. He says, what's that? Probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about. He doesn't say, no, I have no general idea what you're talking about. He says, all right. He absolutely does have a general idea what she's talking about. And if they were innocent, as the defendant has claimed, and this was in fact a second extortion attempt, there is not a reason in the world why they wouldn't just say that. I got approached by another one. One came and paid me a visit today. It's happening again.
Why wouldn't they just go to the cops? Like, some guy just came up to me and is telling me he's going to kill my family or whatever if I don't give him $5,000. Like, go to the cops. Why the hell wouldn't you go to the cops? If you honestly don't know anything that happened and you're totally innocent of everything, why not go to the cops?
The defendant asked Donna to take a picture of the bump letter and send it to him, and she refused.
That was such a genius setup by the cops.
Are the Latin Kings going to see the text? Do you think someone is trying to blackmail you? Maybe. Could be. I don't know. No. That's crazy. That's his response. I'm not adding the emphasis on that syllable. He says it like that. That's crazy. How is it crazy? You're already being extorted by Lion King member. Remember, doctor? Says he hadn't come up with that part yet. In call C, defendant calls back again to tell Donna not to talk about things in the apartment or any place. Why? Why? The Lion Kings aren't in there.
Yeah. Why would they
She
have to
doesn't
be
ask him why,
quiet
because
in
it's
the
obvious. She
apartment?
says, oh, obviously. Why? Because they might be under surveillance? Well, who cares if they have nothing to hide? Here we see the first use of code on the wire with only this
Hold on, let me fast forward a little bit.
witness said her name.
So this is him calling Catherine, the go-between, his girlfriend, who asked her ex-husband to kill him and got the money. So he says, I just want you to listen to me. I'll be able to talk to you in person when I see you tomorrow. But something regarding her son, something regarding his ex-girlfriend, and the person asking my mom for money. Yeah, and my mom said it involved your ex-girlfriend, so I don't even think she said who. I'm just like, you're my last girlfriend, so that's why I'm calling you. But he knew exactly why he was calling her, because they knew what it was about already and what particular ex-girlfriend it was. He said they spoke to her for a few minutes and then said there was, they were making reference to my ex-girlfriend, which I have no effing clue what that's about. I don't know who he's on the phone with here. Well, exactly. That's the only reason I'm going to bother calling you is because they want to keep talking about you. Oh, all right. This is still Katie he's calling. Or if it's the wrong person, then I would feel even horrible. But this person doesn't... People's names they're talking about, and you may even be the wrong Katie. And then I'll look even more like a dumbass. Katie, if they weren't talking about you and some other guy who goes by the name T. Seems like everybody goes by T these days, but whatever the other guy's name is. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. I feel like an idiot if it was some other ex. Anyway, she said, yeah, do you have any fights with any of your other exes? He said, I don't know. I mean, maybe I should just start calling everybody today. And she said, well, how many Katies do you know that have a baby daddy? Because the guy, made sure to mention that it was an ex-girlfriend who had a baby daddy. And, like he mentioned all the key players, but acted like he was a gang member trying to extort him. And then he says, if I'm wrong and they're referencing somebody else, if it is a common last name or a common first name, they didn't tell me a last name. And I said, if you're the wrong person, then I feel horrible and they're trying to bring you into this or whatever. What's this? Oh, that's them having lunch because they meet to talk about it. They go to lunch so she can tell him what happened. And then Charles says to her, if they had any evidence, we would have already gone to the airport. So that would explain why Donna immediately went to the airport to try and fly out of the country when she knows her time is probably up. And then he says, you carrying on you now? I mean, I'm going to start carrying one on my back. Like, the holster that fits in your back. If someone comes up to me, they better be ready to shoot because I'm going to shoot them. If someone comes up to me asking for money in my house. Yeah, when the effing police show up and there's a doctor, there's an oral surgeon standing there with a dead gang member in his effing driveway, they're not going to come down too hard on me, and I'm not going to talk anyway. I don't know. I don't trust them. And I do believe they had like a secret recording of them talking too. Next thing you know, the person is singing. Other people start singing. As soon as they have him, he starts calling your name out. Oh, my parents are going to have to say, yeah, the guy came and he said that they're going to ask the story of what happened. There's going to be police at your door, at my door. I want to give them the money, but I don't want to get involved. Is next Tuesday, he's asking for $10,000. So this was my idea. I give you the money. You contact so-and-so. Catherine. So I guess he's on the phone with Catherine telling her he's going to give him the money and that Catherine contacts her baby dad. And then she says something unintelligible, and he says, listen, this is why I'm saying it. This is why I'm saying it. I give you the money, and you talk to him on the phone. So what you're going to say is, I got a call from some friends of mine who said that you had reached out and that you had mentioned my name. These people want to go to the police because they had nothing to do with what you're talking about, okay? Frankly, I don't know what you were talking about, but the name sounds familiar of who's incarcerated. So I'm going to give you something as charity to help the less fortunate. But do not contact these people again or they're going to the police. He wants her to tell him that. But that's it. You don't use anything other than the words help and charity. So he's instructing his ex-girlfriend to take this money and give it to them because he really thinks it's the Latin Kings coming for them over the people he hired as the hitman, and he wants her to say that he's doing it for charity or whatever. Now he's effing with his wife, and he's effing with him, and you F with someone, you F with the king himself. You better kill him because he's going to be a big problem, and he knows who you are, and if he can't do it, I'll have someone else do it. I don't know what that means. I guess he's trying to, like, tell her to say these things to the guy and scare him. Alright, I guess he's asking Catherine now. He doesn't have any bad feelings towards me, does he? Talking about her baby dad, who they hired to kill the guy. Our paths never crossed. I didn't know the two of you would be working out, kind of like... And she said it's not like that. I guess because her and him are back together. Unintelligible FBI, 5 in the morning. Hey, you know who is this coming from? Inside. I don't know anybody that's got that facial hair. Just a 5-day shadow. Alright, so this is him talking to his mom. It's good, it's good. I'm just leaving. I just got some coffee with a friend. Yeah. I guess he's implying he just met Catherine. Yeah. It may just be... Oh, he met Catherine in a restaurant, and they have a recording of their whole conversation, which you can find that online. I don't know if I'll have time to play it, but the conversation is super damning. That's where they have basically talk. It's like one of the big key pieces of evidence. He said, yeah, just helping her out with some relationship advice, like, hinting to his mom about the stuff. She said, oh, okay. Yeah, she may come by and see me tomorrow, actually, too. She had to go back to work, so I think she's going to come, maybe, to my office tomorrow, or another office, so I can talk to her some more. I gave her some good advice. And she said, yeah. And she's just sleeping on it. So he's, like, implying to his mom that he talked to her and they had a good conversation or whatever. And this might be the transcripts from that. Okay, Dulce Vita. That's where they meet at the restaurant. And this is their conversation. All right, he said they're putting my name in R and that other person's name. It's getting too detailed, underlined. It's like somebody that you know for sure. And Catherine says, yes, they said our name. They even said the amount. And he's like, I don't. Mr. Adelson, do the right thing, do the right thing. She, it sounds like an effing cop that's fishing or an investigator or someone playing games, but I don't, he's coming up with a lot of effing details. And that's what I'm saying is this person is not going away. They came fully equipped with details. Where did the something come from? I don't know. The details. But the thing is that property came with a full listing. Like it came with... So they're trying to make it seem like they're talking about property, but he's talking about the cop bringing all the information with all the details of the hit. Yeah, with all the information of who you're gonna... And then if they do, they're throwing a lot of information out that, I don't know, so which is crazy. The question is, where did they get it from? And why don't they just go collect the reward, whoever has the information? That she said exactly, all right, we're saying the same thing. And then he says, so Katie, they'll be back. These people know about whoever it is knows the information. So they're, implying that whoever this is knows what happened. Yeah, it is. It's all I'm saying is find out who the F it is and tell them to stop playing their games. I don't know who you have to talk to, but it needs to be nipped in the bud. Because he thinks it's somebody, he doesn't know if it's the gang or if it's the cops or whatever. So he's telling her, find out, because her husband is in the Latin Kings gang. All right, and this is, I can't read the top threats. All right, Mr. Adelson. All right, I mean, listen, it's the kind of thing, if there's a threat, you go to the police. Okay, so he's talking to his mom again. She says, yeah, but anyway, at this time, I don't think that's a good idea. So Donna says it's not a good idea to go to the police. Then Charles says, well, I don't mean if people threaten you, you got to go to the police. She says, yeah, there's two ways of dealing with it. One is go ahead and contact Miami Beach Police Department. Okay, so I guess this is him talking to Catherine. Charles talking to Catherine now. Catherine says, yeah, okay, then contact somebody. They'll talk to him on the phone and arrange for things to be set up. And this is him and Catherine. That's what I said. I said, if someone is going to blackmail you or something. She said, exactly. Or frighten you, I said, or scaring you like that. I said, you got to go straight to the police. But I don't think they ever went to the police, so. Alright, she said, like other things like running in my head, because I'm with the names like that you're saying. I'm like, maybe it's somebody trying to be like, trying to be an informant or something, or whatever. Like, there were so many things going on. And then Charles says, yeah, and I'm thinking the same thing too. Someone is playing. Yeah, no, for sure. There's one scenario, but you've got to figure out other things just in case. And he says it's one of the two. It can only be one of the two, apparently. If somebody that's desperate, not from the inside, because there's too much on the inside that the other person knows from the outside. So why would they even be having a conversation about somebody from the outside knowing too much inside info if there wasn't some kind of secret that they all know about? And then Charles says, right. And then she says, so they won't risk it. That's why I know for a fact it's not from the inside. It's somebody trying to be greedy. It's somebody not from the first layer, but probably the second layer. The first layer being Donna, then Charles. So they said they operate it like a train car. Donna being the top. Then Donna would talk to Charles. And Charles would only talk to Katie. Katie would only talk to Sigfredo. And that was how it worked. So he was saying it's got to be somebody from the second layer, meaning Sigfredo or Louise. It had to come from there. She said, yeah, and they just made a big mistake. So this is a phone call. They had all their phones tapped. So this is Charles's cell phone. He's on a call with, so you can see up in the corner, it shows his face on the phone with Catherine, the woman who was the go-between. So they're obviously talking, it's pretty clear that they're having some secret conversation about some, secret plan they hatched. So this is still them on the phone. Oh my God, I didn't even tell you. One of my friends got the cutest pot-bellied pig, has the cutest what? Pot-bellied pig. Yeah, you know what a pig is? Are you serious? As long as they're housebroken, they're not that bad. He means pig as in cop, I'm assuming. Like, he's trying to tell her without saying he thinks it's a cop. And then these are the charges, but I believe he only got charged with conspiracy. This is the end of it. But yeah, that's pretty much the evidence that they have on Donna. I'm sure they have more and that they haven't completely put out because this was Charles' trial, so it would more so revolve around Charles, but I'm sure they have a whole other gang of evidence for just Donna. But even in Charles's trial, the evidence was more Donna than anything, Oh, and yes, Lori makes some awesome beard balm. Her Facebook page is there, and they also use it for their pets' paws, the unscented ones. So if you guys want some, go check it out. And you guys want to see my cute little lizard real quick before I go? He's in my pocket. Hold up. burrowing in my shirt. I'm sorry. I wake you up. So cute. Hey, cutie. He's so small. He's a burrower, so I made like a. Well, he's like a mini. He's like a mini mini Irwin. He'll stay small, but he's a baby now, so he'll get about 12 inches. I'm sorry, but I make like a little pocket for him, so he can sit in my shirt. I'm trying to bond with him so he's comfortable with me, so I was letting him sleep in my shirt just to get him used to me for a little bit. And he's so funny, he like digs in it, like he's getting used to me though. He's letting me give him chin scratches and stuff. I'm sorry, am I scaring you? Like, yeah, isn't this crazy? So she's been arrested. She was trying to flee. She was trying to head to Vietnam with her husband at the airport, and they got her. And she's in jail now. So I guess she'll be the next trial coming up. So far, they've convicted Catherine, they've convicted Charles, and they've convicted Luis Riviera, and they've convicted Sigfredo. The only ones they haven't convicted is Wendy and Harvey, Donna's husband. So we'll see how that pans out, and we'll definitely keep up with the case for sure, and if anything comes out. But it's pretty crazy. And if you guys, it was like I'm only like in day 2 of the trial, like watching it. So, but so far, like I've seen highlights too from other days. Like I saw the clip, I heard some of the phone calls after the cop saw Donna and walked up to her, things like that. And it's super interesting. So if you guys haven't listened to it, you need a good trial to listen to, I totally recommend. And yeah, for sure. Check it out. And I will be back probably this weekend, maybe even before then, if anything. Anything else comes out or happens. I still have to talk about the Delphi stuff, but I have a lot of catching up to do from COVID and all that. But we'll definitely talk about that next time for sure. And I'll catch y'all later. Thank you for hanging out. And I will talk to y'all soon. Yes, we'll definitely stay on top of the case. It's crazy, right? And it's crazy that I feel like the one who was like the master string puller is the last one to be arrested. Like I feel like she's the one who was like, top of the list. Bye, Patty. All right, good night, guys. See ya.